Presentation. I'll invite Aubrey and Colette to talk to us about people development in Africa. It's funny.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for still being here. I was very worried we're going to fly all this way and have no one to present to by this time of the day. So thank you for that. Hopefully you can take something away from this. I'll be handling the first part of the presentation and then handing over to my colleague Aubrey. Okay, in terms of structure, I'll just quickly give you a brief overview of the context of imperial logistics. More importantly, our footprint into Africa, since the focus of this presentation is people development in Africa, in private sector. And then give you an overview of our people development framework, more from a sort of generic supply chain management point of view. And then Aubrey will be going into healthcare people development in terms of the Health Sciences Academy offering, as well as some of the challenges and lessons learned. Okay, so quickly, just in terms of imperial logistics, some of you might be familiar with Imperial. Imperial Logistics is the leading logistics and supply chain management provider in South Africa. We're growing very rapidly into Africa in line with our growth strategy. We've got an Imperial Logistics International arm that's very active in Germany, Poland, and now Amsterdam as well. We are involved in most industries, consumer products being also a lot of specialization in cold logistics, obviously pharmaceutical, where health sciences play a role, industrial products, which is our sort of traditional transport and warehousing services, petrochemical, which is the tanker transport, and our bulk commodities. Now, as you can see there in terms of the value chain depiction there, Imperial Logistics, through its various operating entities, has got capabilities around every single aspect of the supply chain, from procurement right through to outbound logistics. We also have a division that focuses on supply chain integration, supply chain optimization. Okay, just a quick few facts to give you an idea of scale. I won't go through all of them. Imperial Logistics Africa, including South Africa, 23,000 employees that we employ, over 1 million square meters of warehousing space. Currently, we have 18 operating entities, of which Imperial Health Sciences is one. This is following a consolidation process. Up to 2013, we had over 80 different operating entities in the group, which we then consolidated to try and simplify our offering and understanding in the market of our offering. In terms of Africa, footprint in Africa, we currently have infrastructure in 12 countries in Africa, but as you can see, we do transportation into 18 countries. We have warehouses in 75 locations and 675 vehicles doing cross-border transport. So just a little bit of context in terms of who is Imperial Logistics. Okay, so the backdrop for people development in South Africa and then into the broader Africa, I think first of all it's important to understand in terms of the way we approach people development that we've got a very decentralized business model. Our strategy has always been growth through acquisitions, very strong entrepreneurial culture. As I mentioned, we used to have 80 decentralized businesses, and I think the important thing is it's not a typical corporate environment, although the size might imply that, but HR processes and systems has never been enforced onto operating companies from the center. So we've got varying levels of sophistication in HR processes and systems across the different operating entities. Obviously, as is globally a problem, we also have a dire skill shortage problem, and also, as alluded to earlier, in terms of our education system, certain limitations which poses certain challenges to school leavers exiting or having to enter into higher education. Also, I think an important factor that impacts on skills development in South Africa, it's a very, very regulated environment. So in South Africa, we've got what's called sector education and training authorities. We've got 23 of those that are organized around specific industries and sectors, and they basically regulate the type of training that need to be implemented. We've also got a skills development tax. All employers have to pay 1% of their payroll towards a training tax. Then we've got a grant system linked to that, which is a positive in the sense that the compliance forces organizations to have a bigger focus on training, the incentive to do more training, but it can also result in training being done for the sake of compliance. as opposed to for real transformation and the real principle behind that. Obviously, in terms of where we're coming from in South Africa, big focus on transformation, which obviously impacts from a strategic point of view on the typical focus areas. Okay, in terms of if you look at a corporate or organizational model for maturity of people development, if you look at Imperial Logistics 7 years ago, we had very limited focus on people development from the center because of the decentralized structure of the business. We sort of then progressed to having some sort of incidental training being organized from the center. And 2 years ago, we've established at Imperial Logistics head office the Imperial Logistics Academy, who is an accredited training provider. We've got a formal learning framework. We've developed our own internal curriculum with a set learning pathway. So we've got customized curriculum from entry level for sort of semi-skilled employees up to middle management. And after that, we've got certain relationships with business schools. We've also got technology to enable the academy. Also, we use the Moodle system for our learner management system. So in terms of the continuum, as you can see there, the arrow basically indicating where we think we are at the moment. Academy is established, learning framework, curriculum is in place. So next step now for us is to investigate and to come up with more creative delivery portals, use technology, use social networks to extend our reach for training and development, obviously also in line with our Africa growth strategy. We have to look at more creative delivery portals, more partners for in-country training. A big challenge for us, if you look at training from a central point of view, is how do we integrate with talent and performance management? And I think hopefully you can see that private and public sector have some of the same challenges. For us, the next step is now to see how do we integrate with talent pipelines, succession planning, in terms of the curriculum that we have. And then obviously the ultimate goal is to get to this notion of a learning organization where there's a learning culture and a realization that learning is not training or not only training. And that it needs to be facilitated in places outside of the classroom as well. So just to give you an idea of how we have evolved over time, just very quickly, the last slide before I hand over to Aubrey, just a quick summary of the approach. So this looks at how we organize our resources and our focus areas. So essentially, the first two blocks speak to the sort of internal focus, and the other three more towards an external focus, external reach. So first of all, we've got a cluster called short courses, which is essentially focused at specific skills needs. So we do a short course calendar. We've got different clusters of short courses around specific skills development needs, professional development needs, but also a lot of knowledge sharing and innovation type goals that we have in this cluster. So we try and create opportunities for people to share best practices, case studies through all sorts of events. Then we've got a cluster that's basically our academic curriculum. So we've developed customized curriculum for Imperial Logistics. We've got 4 programs: entry-level program, which is fundamentals of logistics for sort of semi-skilled employees. We've got transport supervision, warehouse supervision, up to business management, consisting of formal theoretical vocational training that's very Imperial specific. So we use a lot of our internal subject matter experts to facilitate, coupled with a lot of workplace learning to try and get that performance improvement. So that's the sort of internal focus qualification training. We've got study assistance schemes for our employees to further their studies through public institutions, but we also have partnerships with some private universities to get the articulation into higher education from the vocational training. So that's our inward focus. In terms of externally, we've got a huge focus on facilitating workplace entry for the youth. So from a people development point of view, we've got a dedicated graduate development manager. I think Ian alluded to it earlier. Our target is at 2.5% of our payroll. That's the number of unemployed graduates that we try and take in on an annual basis. And we put them through structured workplace learning. Compliance, as I mentioned, a lot of energy goes into leveraging grants, facilitating transformation targets. And then I think the whole issue of collaboration. We invest a lot of energy in conjunction with some of our other departments in research. We sponsor the State of the Logistics Survey research and partnering with public and private educational institutions. So that's essentially, and all of this is obviously underpinned by sort of the strategic issues of rolling training out into Africa and integration with talent management. So before I'm a typical female, I'm going to hand over to Aubrey. Thanks.
Oi, the graveyard of the graveyard shift. But ladies and gents, please do not fear. Unlike Oscar Pistorius, I do not own a firearm. Moving along swiftly. Ian has done such a fabulous job to introduce Imperial Health Sciences to all of you, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time by doing that. All that I can share with you is our values, which is respect, excellence, acknowledge, and pride, which is really the basis of the Imperial Health Sciences Supply Chain Academy. That is what we try and instill into individuals when they join and attend the academy. So, the academy in a nutshell. The academy started back in 2006 when Ian visited Guyana. He had a conversation with a warehouse manager that was a very well qualified pharmacist, but also realized that this individual don't really understand the warehousing world. They don't understand measurements, they don't understand key performance indicators, they don't understand excellences within the warehouse environment. That was the start of the Warehouse Operations Management Program, where we fly individuals to South Africa to our facility, which is an ISO certified facility in South Africa. We put them up in a hotel for 3 weeks. We teach them best practice skills, but not only do we tell them how they're supposed to do it, but we also show them. It's the good old theory of show me, but also tell me. Out of the Warehouse Operations Management Program, we've done lots of research, and we realized that there's got to be better ways of doing this, of training individuals, and hence why we designed a thing called the Supply Chain Performance Improvement Program, where we basically took the Warehouse Operations Management Program on the road. We also have what we call a system strengthening side to it, which the Namibia team alluded to this morning as well, where we try and design specific SOPs, key performance indicators, job descriptions, everything that you need to almost qualify to be an ISO certified facility. Out of that, we also realized that there's a huge need for executives. They don't really understand why strategy is so important and why they need to think of the bigger supply chain. There's also a certificate in supply chain management where we escalate our training into a certificate where we collaborate with a partner called the Da Vinci Institute. The Da Vinci Institute is a private university in South Africa with partners throughout South Africa, and in that way we try and drive the sustainability of the program. So not only is the training done from South Africa, but it's also catered for within their own countries. Then there's a bachelor's in supply chain. The bachelor's is a joint venture between the Da Vinci Institute, ourselves, as well as CIPS, the Chartered Institute for Purchase and Supply, where each of us bring our own expertise to the table, and in that way we try and deliver real value. The postgraduate qualification is also a joint venture between ourselves and the University of Stellenbosch, where we try, I've got 2 minutes left, I'm trying, where we try and really develop individuals and also give them a bigger understanding of the economic world out there. So why do I need to understand the economy? Why do I need to understand finance? Why do I need to understand project management within public health supply chains? That is, in a nutshell, the Imperial Health Sciences Supply Chain Academy. And what we would like to do is to finish off with a quick video, so if you wouldn't mind, thank you.
At Imperial Logistics, we know that people are the fuel that powers our world-class network. We invest in our people, giving them the support to realize their career aspirations through our learning and development framework. This commitment to our people made the Imperial Logistics Academy the natural next step in our journey to excellence. Through the Academy's commitment to excellence in education, we enable graduates to enter the supply chain and logistics industry, offer tertiary education support to our employees, and drive knowledge sharing internally and within the industry. We consistently address the skills gap by promoting lifelong learning. For our people, getting ahead starts when they step through our door. At the Academy, we provide customized training and development programs that are aligned with national qualifications. We offer practical short courses to address specific skills and professional development needs. Experienced Imperial people contribute to content development and offer guest lecturing and mentorship. This innovative use of best practice means that we are able to ensure that skills are transferred internally within the group and externally to develop the broader industry. Partnerships with Imperial Health Sciences Academy and Ikageng enable us to broaden our offering and expand our reach into Africa. We are also recognized by leading industry associations for our ongoing commitment to collaboration, partnerships and knowledge sharing. The Academy is accredited with the Transport Education and Training Authority as an institute for sector occupational excellence. We maintain close working relationships with educational institutions across South Africa through sponsorships, guest lectures and participation in career programs. These relationships promote the Imperial brand and enable the Academy to create a pipeline of graduates to feed into internships and bursary schemes. Our commitment to educational development has not gone unnoticed. Imperial Logistics Academy is the proud recipient of numerous awards and accolades, recognizing excellence in supply chain management education. Our commitment to our people means that Imperial has been recognized as an employer of choice, a responsibility we take very seriously. At Imperial Logistics, we believe that the right solutions and services are meaningless without skilled people to implement and support them. Through the Imperial Logistics Academy, we set our people firmly on the road to getting ahead.